Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm back with something very different. Today we're here to talk about the fact that Luka Modric is set to become a minority owner of Swansea City. Very mad news, it came out of nowhere. Fabrizio Romano's put up a post on social media as well, which reads, Luka Modric set to become new Swansea City minority owner. The former Ballon d'Or winner is on the verge of becoming one of the owners of the Championship club. Deal agreed. This does not affect his top career as he wants to continue playing for Real Madrid again, as his numbers and stats are again even better compared to last season. Yeah, very mad. And if, Fabrizio is posting about it, then, he doesn't often get things wrong. And I think that's, it's absolutely massive for us. Obviously, it is going to be, a while until we see progress, but, God knows how we've pulled that off. I think, it's excellent. It's a big name in football. As I said, the career he's had has been absolutely excellent, obviously playing for Spurs and then, Madrid as well, winning, countless La Liga titles. He's also won 6 Champions League titles, which is the most of any player, joint with his teammate Dani Carvajal. They'll be both looking to make that 7. Obviously, they've got to overcome Arsenal, which they're 3-0 down, but you just can never put it past Madrid. But yeah, as I said, 6 Champions League titles. He's also won the Ballon d'Or as well in 2018. He's a World Cup runner-up as well, getting to the final in the 2018 World Cup also. Just missing out in the final against France, but he's had a really good career, both at club level and international level. And I think it took me by surprise, and I think it took a lot of other Swans fans by surprise as well. But yeah, I think it'll do us wonders, really. If I'm being honest, a big name like Modric, he's obviously played with some of the greats, like Cristiano Ronaldo, Gareth Bale, Sergio Ramos, Toni Kroos as well. So, he's played with some of the best players in the world. He's played at probably the biggest club in the world as well. So yeah, he's had a fantastic career and it's a really big name. Hopefully it can help us attract some new signings in the summer. And hopefully a lot of players will be interested in joining this club, and hopefully it'll help us take us back to the Premier League. Obviously it doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to get to the Premier League. You can't guarantee anything. Obviously, as I said, it will be a long journey, even if we are to get there. Be interesting to see if he has, how much of an involvement he has in the club. Obviously, I know he's still playing at Madrid now for the rest of the season, and it wouldn't surprise me if he plays next season. At the age of 39, I think he is. He's still performing at the very highest level, and yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he played again next season. But it'll be interesting to see when he retires. If he'll have a lot of involvement in the club, like, Ryan Reynolds does with Wrexham and Tom Brady does with Birmingham. Will he have that sort of, connection and involvement with the fans in the club? It would be, really good if he does. We'll just have to wait and see. That's very interesting to see. But obviously, yeah, I think it'll, help us massively. As I said, a very big name coming into the club. It'll help draw players in. It might help a few of our players stay as well. Obviously, Franco's been one of our best players this season. We all don't want him to leave in the summer. Something like this with Modric coming in, will that, convince him to stay? Who knows, really. But yeah, as I said, I think it's going to be fantastic for us to get somebody like this involved in the club. We've been needing something like this for a while, and it's finally happened. What a person to get involved in the club as well. As I said, an excellent career he's had. I'm fortunate enough to actually watch him play in person as well. I went to Real Madrid versus Getafe in December, which I vlogged, which is on this channel if any of you want to watch that. So yeah, I've been lucky enough to watch him play in person. Who knows, maybe he'll finish his career off at the Swans. Not very likely that's going to happen, let's be honest, but that would be amazing, wouldn't it, to finish his career off, one season at the Swans, and then obviously he's got the minority ownership then. It'd be excellent, him and Joe Allen holding down the midfield. 40-year-old Modric, 35-year-old Joe Allen. Be absolutely excellent, that would, in the Championship. But no, it's obviously not going to happen, is it? But I think it'll also be good as well having someone like Modric in the club. As I said, not only will it attract players, but I think as well, more specifically, you know, we might be able to look into the Real Madrid system and get some, you know, youngsters come through. You know, I'm not expecting to get anyone like Endrick or, you know, Arda Güler next season on loan. That would be, you know, magnificent. But, you know, maybe we'll look at the, you know, the under-18s, under-21s Real Madrid team and, you know, try and bring in some youngsters. And not only that, he might be able to also help us bring in some, you know, promising upcoming Croatian players as well, which, you know, I think would be excellent. You know, we've seen recently in the last season or so, we've started looking, you know, more internationally, not just players in the UK that we've been bringing in, obviously Ronald, Franco, Omji Sung as well, Lawrence Vigouroux. So, you know, we've been looking at players outside of the UK. I know obviously Vigouroux came from the, you know, Burnley, but obviously he represents Chile. So yeah, it would be interesting to see if we can bring in, you know, some young Croatian talents. And I think it would be, you know, very good if we could do that. But yeah, I you know, it took me by surprise, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think anybody expected this. But yeah, obviously it's not 100% yet, but you know, it looks like he's set to have minority ownership at the Swans, which is, yeah, just incredible, really. But yeah, you know, he's still playing at the highest level, and yeah, who knows what will happen when he retires? You know, will he be involved, you know, that often and that regularly, which I think would be amazing if he was. But, you know, regardless, I think it's, you know, absolutely excellent. And, you know, it's a big name to bring in, and hopefully it can attract a few new signings and hopefully convince a few of our players to stay. But yeah, let me know your all your opinions on it in the comments. You know, I just think it's mad, really. As I said, I don't think anybody expected this. But yeah, hopefully we'll be back in the Premier League soon. No, it's going to take some time, you know, in all seriousness, but I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. And you know, I think it's definitely good for our current set of players to see somebody like this being brought in. You know, I think it's a, you know, really good decision, and as I said, he'll help a lot of young player, bringing in a lot of young players, and hopefully convince a few to stay as well. But yeah, that's it for this video. Pretty mad one. Didn't expect to be making this today, I'll be completely honest. But yeah, once again, a massive thanks for watching this. I will be back on Thursday night for my match preview ahead of the game on Good Friday. So yeah, once again, a massive thanks for watching this. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching.